So this is a string of firsts I've encountered with Tim Burton lately. Not only is this the latest movie of his that I've seen where Danny Elfman did not conduct the score for it, but this is also the first movie that I have seen since his breakup with Helena Bonham Carter that neither she nor Johnny Depp were in it. What? Today on Readus Reviews, I review Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, the newest movie directed by Tim Burton based on the book of the same title. In which case you should know, readers, that I'm only reviewing it based on the movie alone. Mostly because I haven't read the book. Am I interested in reading the book after seeing this movie? Yes! Albeit it wouldn't be the first time I was immediately interested in reading a book based on the movie after seeing the movie first. So with that, let's talk about Jacob Portman, a teenager from Florida who, after stumbling upon a tragedy regarding his grandfather, decides to travel to Wales in order to carry out his wishes, in which he stumbles upon headmistress Peregrine and a group of kids that have certain talents. And together they pursue an adventure that answers a lot of questions regarding Jacob's upbringing and past. So now we get to the part where I talk about the story, which was fine. I know I say that a lot regarding my movie reviews, but honestly, this was fine. The setup to the plot made sense. It happened in a way in which you didn't necessarily call bullshit into decisions that certain characters made. And you got to learn a little bit more about the world of peculiarity at the same time that Jake did, which is always a good thing. However, if I were to nitpick regarding at least one element of the story, it would have to be that I felt that the villains of the story were a bit too cut and dry. With the exception of one that I will definitely be talking about in my character breakdown. It was pretty much the same old of what we've seen from villains before. As far as whether or not the Tim Burtonisms were noticeable, slightly. And it's not as overbearing as like Alice in Wonderland, and keep note that I actually enjoyed Alice in Wonderland, don't kill me. But I can understand why people disliked it. In which case, if I were to compare the tone of this film to tone in other Tim Burton films, I would say it was more of a mixture of Edward Scissorhands and Big Fish. The Florida parts were definitely Edward Scissorhands, while on the other hand, the Miss Peregrine parts were definitely Big Fish. Which I thought was a pretty nice touch. It allowed Tim Burton to still put his unique spin on it, but he didn't touch it that much to the point where the source material was completely unidentifiable. With that being said, let's start with the characters that stood out to me, starting with Asa Butterfield's Jake. I actually liked the progression of his character over the course of the movie. He learned things at the same pace that we learn things while also learning more things about himself. If you look at the movie outside of the supernatural aspect of it, Jake's progress over the course of this movie is basically a coming of age story for him. Finding a group of friends that he clicks with so they won't be so introverted, learning to be more courageous as he's thrust into these creepy ass moments, and both learning how to stand up for himself and chase what he actually wants. With that being said, I saw a lot of the same elements in Emma Bloom's character too, especially the parts about knowing what she wants, trusting, and opening up to people. I enjoyed Olive's spunk over the course of the movie, and then of course the masked twins, they just had Tim Burton written all over them. And I was pleasantly surprised at Enoch's character development over the course of this movie, because usually I can't stand characters like Enoch, even when I write them. But seeing how his character developed from asshole to trusting at the end of the movie made me feel good about it. Enoch's character showed growth throughout the entire movie, which made me feel better about liking him more and more. And then you have Eva Green as Miss Peregrine, in which case I expected nothing less from her. But Laron, isn't this the same actress who was the bad Bond girl in Casino Royale? What could she have possibly done to prove that this was one of her best? Penny Dreadful. So remember when I said with the exception of one villain that they were kind of cut and dry? Let's talk about Sam Jackson's whack ass right quick. Now I understand that he had to tone the bullshit down because in essence, this is a kid's film. A dark as fuck kid's film, but a kid's film nonetheless. But what made me really impressed with his performance over the course of this movie was because this is the first time I've seen an actor portray a villain for a kid's film and give 50-50. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that this is the first time I've seen an actor portray a villain in a kid's film that was both menacing and hamming it the fuck up at the same time. And that's not to say that took away from Sam Jackson's character of Mr. Barrett. If anything, it helped, in my opinion. Sam Jackson clearly had fun playing this character, and in retrospect, I had fun watching him perform it. So all in all, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I feel that this was a good adaptation for Tim Burton to start getting back into his roots as far as directing movies, especially when it comes to adaptations and movies involving unoriginal characters of his. It was a fun watch and something I'll probably let a 7-year-old watch with supervision, and I have no doubt in my mind that the book probably goes way more in depth regarding the kids and the story and regarding what happens in this universe. So if you're looking to watch something that you feel a mature child could handle, I would recommend going to go see Miss Peregrine. But I would understand if you're not willing to pay more than a student discounted ticket or a matinee ticket in order to do so. Hell, I kinda understand if you're only willing to buy the DVD as opposed to the Blu-ray upon its release. So with that, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Have you seen Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children? Or better yet, have you seen it and have also read the book? Do you think the film was a decent adaptation of it? Because like I said earlier, now that I've seen the movie, I'm incredibly interested in seeing the differences in the book. And then yeah, you know, press the subscribe button, turn on notifications, because anyway, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.